Hello everyone, good evening. I hope I'm audible, guys, to all of you. Just let me know in the chat. Hello everyone, good evening. Okay, guys, I think I'm audible. You can hear me, you can see me. So I will start the session within 1 minute. Let's wait for 1 minute, guys, so that everyone can join and we can start the session. Yeah, hi everyone. So guys, I think you are doing well, and sorry for the delay. Actually, I was having some work actually, so that's why I couldn't able to continue the live. When I think you saw that I just like did one setup at my home. I have taken one new system at my home, that means the desktop. So that's why I was doing the entire setup, and now currently I'm live actually with that particular system. So that's why I had to do the setup for all the things actually I usually do in my previous system, right? So that's why actually it got delayed. So there is a video, guys, I think I have posted. If you want to see that, like what kinds of system I have built, you can see this particular video. So the specification and recommendation I shared, because many people are asking like, sir, what will be the best configuration PC for the data science, right? Or let's say machine learning, deep learning, whatever we are doing. So that's why I thought let's create this particular video. So whatever specification I'm using, so everything I have shared there, you can go ahead and watch that particular recording. Okay, we'll get the entire idea. Okay, so now I think we can start the session, guys. So before starting the session, first of all, let me tell you why you will get the previous video and previous resources. So here you can see I have created one playlist called MLOPs Production Ready Machine Learning Project. So if I open this particular playlist, guys, you will see we have completed till day 4. And this is the day 5 today. So we have completed till I think exploited analysis, feature engineering, and training on notebook experiment. All the resources I have shared in that particular description section. If you open that particular description section, you will be able to see this particular GitHub repository. Okay, so this is the GitHub repository, guys. So from here you can download all the codes, all the material, everything I have shared in that particular session itself. Okay, you can see whatever live link I shared, everything, it is available here. So if you have missed out that particular session, guys, what you can do, first of all, try to complete this particular recording, then try to join this particular like session. Otherwise some of the things otherwise some of the things actually you won't be able to understand. That's why that would be my suggestion. First of all, try to complete till day 4 and try to watch this particular day 5. Okay, because today we are going to start with our modular coding. So definitely you need the previous knowledge to implement this particular entire pipeline. Okay. So if you're ready, guys, you can give me a quick yes in the chat, or you can give any kinds of emojis so that I can start with. Let me know, guys, if you're ready, guys, all of you. Just give me a quick yes, thumbs up, anything, guys, in the chat so that I can get to know you are ready and I can start the session. Okay, great. So now, first of all, I will open up my Blackboard and let me write down the agenda. Like, what are the things we're going to cover in this particular session? Okay. So today is the day 5. So today is the day 5, guys. Day 5. And we have completed till our notebook experiment. Like we saw the entire project notebook experiment, like how we can do the IDA part, how we can do the feature engineering part, how we can do the model training, and everything we have saw right on the Jupyter notebook. So from today, actually, we'll be starting with our component implementation. The first component we'll be implementing today called data ingestion. Data ingestion. Okay, data ingestion component will be implementing. So what is data ingestion exactly? The data ingestion is nothing but it's just a way of getting the data from the database. I think you saw that I was storing the data where I was storing the data in the MongoDB cluster. Okay, in the MongoDB database, and this is the cloud database. So there actually I was storing my data. You can see this is my database called US Visa. Inside that I have created a collection called Visa data, and inside that I have stored all of the data actually I was having in that particular CSV file, right? So now what I have to do, guys, in the notebook I showed you how we can fetch this particular data from the database. Like now what about the component? Whenever I'm writing modular coding, okay, whenever I'm writing modular coding, so how to write this particular component there? Okay, that is what actually will be explaining in this particular component today. That's why I kept this particular name is as a data ingestion, right? And with that actually we'll be also learning. With that we'll be also learning. So this is the additional thing we'll be learning today called data drift. Okay, with evidently. Okay, evidently. So evidently is nothing but it's a MLOps tool. MLOps tool. Okay, if time allows I will try to discuss this evidently today. Otherwise we'll be discussing this particular evidently tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow, because tomorrow actually I'm going to use this particular evidently without pipeline. So I think it would be better to discuss this part tomorrow, because today I just wanted to discuss this particular data ingestion, and I want to explain the entire code in the easiest way so that everyone can get to know, okay, like how we are going to write the entire code. Okay, whenever we'll be also implementing some other component as well. Okay, if you understand the data ingestion, so you can also understand something called data validation. So let me just a minute, guys, let me just reduce the size. So you can also understand data validation. You can also understand data transformation. You can also understand model training. You can also understand model evaluation. Okay, model evaluation. And you can also understand something called model pusher. Okay, so everything you can understand because the coding structure will be following. Okay, the coding structure will be following. So everything will be same, okay, for all the components. So that's why I want to discuss this particular data ingestion in detail so that everyone will have the clear-cut understanding on the data ingestion. That's why I will be discussing this particular data drift with evidently tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow I'll keep a separate session and we'll try to see how we can detect the data drift with the help of one amazing MLOps tool called evidently. I hope, guys, this agenda is clear. All of you, let me know if this agenda is clear with all of you. So let me give you a quick revision, like how we can ingest a data. I think you remember I created one graph previously as well. So for the data ingestion, what I have to do, let's say this is my hi sir, I am currently working on your end-to-end projects deep learning using MLOps. I get an error for ensure. What is the error? You can let me know. I'll try to give you the solution. Velugu, definitely I think I'm going to conduct class tomorrow as well. Okay, you will see that particular schedule from my YouTube channel only. Yeah, Juhair, thank you so much for your valuable feedback. Okay, so now what I can do, guys, I can show you the entire like architecture, like how we are going to ingest our data. See, for this actually what I can show you, I can show you one high level diagram first of all. So just a minute, guys. Okay, so see, this is the like high level diagram. So let's say this is my MongoDB. This is my MongoDB database. So this is my MongoDB database. Here I can write MongoDB database. And here I'm having my data. Which data, guys, I'm having? I think you know that we are having one data called US visa. Okay, or I think the name was visa data, right? Visa data dot CSV. So this particular data is available. Okay, this particular data set is available inside my MongoDB. Okay, MongoDB database. Now what I have to do, guys? What I have to do? So I have to write one component. I have to write one component called data ingestion. Data ingestion. Okay, data ingestion. So data ingestion is going to be my component. Okay, so this is going to be my first component in a pipeline, because we are going to create a pipeline. After data ingestion, my data validation will run. After data validation, my transformation will run. After transformation, trainer will run, then evaluation will run, then pusher will run. So as you can see, data ingestion is my first component. It is my first component of this particular pipeline. So you can see this is a complete pipeline. It's a pipeline. Okay, it's a pipeline, and data ingestion is the first component of the pipeline. Okay, so we are completing this particular first component first of all. So what I have to do, guys, I think you saw that I have written one script. With the help of that, I will just connect with my MongoDB. I'll just connect with my MongoDB. Okay, with the help of connection string. I think you saw that we just collected one connection. Okay, connection string. Okay, connection string from the MongoDB server itself. I think you remember. We connected one connection string. So let me, I think you remember, otherwise I can show you. Just a minute, let me open up my code editor. So this is the code, guys, and here in the MongoDB demo, so here I think I mentioned that particular connection string somewhere. So here, see, this is the connection URL, but I removed that because I just wanted to keep it a secret. I don't want to share with you, so because otherwise other people will access my account, right? So that's why I kept I just deleted, okay, from here. Okay, but after some time I'll show you this particular connection string, because we also need to set up this connection string inside my environment variable. Okay, so make sure you have your connection string. If you don't have, try to check out this particular video. The video actually I have taken. So database setup and project utility. So there I showed you how we can set up our database and how we can get that particular connection string. Okay, so with the help of connection string, I'll just make the connection with my database. Now what I have to do, from this particular database, I have to fetch the data. I have to fetch the data. Okay, I have to fetch the data. Fetch the data. Okay, so then it will give me my visa data. It will give me my visa data. Visa data dot CSV. Okay, because again I will get a like a dictionary kinds of output, because you can see your MongoDB stored your data as a dictionary format. You can see it's a dictionary format. So I just need to convert this particular dictionary to data frame, and that particular data frame I will try to convert in a CSV file. Okay, in a CSV file, because the same thing I have done inside that particular notebook as well. You can see. So first of all, what I was doing, I was reading my data. I was converting this particular data to the dictionary format. Okay, then I was pushing this particular data in my MongoDB. Okay, MongoDB cluster, and so this is the connection actually I was doing. Then after that, I was fetching the data. So then after fetching the data, I was converting this particular data to the data frame, and this particular data frame, I was removing this particular ID column. Then this particular data frame, what you can do, you can save as a CSV file. Okay, you can save as a CSV file. Okay. So I do have an error while connecting the MongoDB from Office network. It seems it's a farewell issue. The MongoDB address should not be. You can try from your system. That would be better, Varun. Okay, instead of using the Office system. Attribute test case ID. Did you mean the asset regex? Which project? I'm not able to sure. Harshad, actually, I'm not sure like which project you are executing. Is there any other way to handle that particular issue? You can use your own system, your own network. Maybe you can do it. SS handshake paired with the trying to MongoDB Python client. See, for me, it is like connecting. Even for everyone also, they are able to do it. Okay, but I'm not sure why it is getting this particular error for you. Okay, maybe you can check with your system. It will work. Fine. So this is the like high level understanding of our data ingestion. Okay, so we'll just try to like make this particular architecture in a low level, and we'll try to understand how we are going to code this particular example. So for this, what I have done, guys, I have created one flowchart. So this flowchart is available inside your repository as well. Let me show you. So if you open up your code repository, so this is the code repository, guys. So inside that I just created one flowchart folder, and inside that I kept this one this particular flowchart called data ingestion png. Okay, data ingestion png. Now if I open it up, so you'll see the entire flowchart, the entire low level flowchart. Okay, I've kept here. So now see, this particular flowchart will help you to understand this particular flow, like how it is ingesting the data from the MongoDB. And to ingest the data, what are the component, what are the configuration it needs, what are the variable it needs, right? So everything I have mentioned here. Okay, everything I have mentioned here. So that's how also you just need to prepare your flowchart. Any project you are doing, just try to prepare the flowchart so that if you are referring this particular project after 6 months, after 1 year, just by referring that particular flowchart, you can easily get to know, okay, that's how my component is working. That is the best practice, guys. I can I can tell you, because I saw that people will start with the project, they will directly write the code. Okay, so it's not a efficient way to write a code. First of all, try to prepare the documentation, proper documentation, then try to write the code. It will be easy for you to understand like what is happening. Okay, so that's how what I have done, guys. I have created this particular flowchart for you. So let me open it up again. So this is the entire flowchart, guys. You can see this is the low level flowchart I have created. So here what I'm doing, guys, you can see this is my MongoDB server. Okay, this is my MongoDB database. And from here, what I'm doing, I'm just ingesting the data. For this, I'm using one data access. Okay, data access I'm using. And to access the data, that means to fetch the data, I need some helper variable. I need some helper constant. You can see I need the data ingestion directory, like after ingesting the data, where it will keep the data, in which folder it will keep the data in my local machine. So these are the variable, okay, I have to pass as a constant. I'll tell you whenever I'll write the code, what is constant, what is entity, what is artifact entity. I'll discuss each and everything. As of now, just try to understand. If I want to fetch the data and if I want to keep somewhere in my local system, I need a folder. Okay, that particular folder name is my data ingestion directory. In that particular variable, I'll mention the directory. Inside the directory, I'm going to store my data. Okay, then I need the feature store file path, because you can see after ingesting the data, let's say this is my data ingestion config, it has triggered. It will ingest the data from the MongoDB. That means it will initiate the data ingestion. After that, it will export the data as a feature store. That means what will happen? It will fetch the data as a dictionary. It will try to convert as a data frame. That particular data frame will be converted as a CSV file. And this particular CSV file, it will store in a feature store folder. So there will be a folder called feature store in the artifact. Okay, artifact is my data ingestion directory. Inside that, there would be a folder called feature store. Inside feature store, this particular data would be saved. Okay, then what I have to do in the data ingestion, I think you know that in machine learning, first of all, we do the 10-10 split operation. Okay, first of all, we have to do the 10-10 split operation. Then we have to do the further processing, like whatever feature engineering, whatever EDA we are doing, everything we can perform. Not EDA, actually, feature engineering you can do after doing the 10-10 split. Okay, but for EDA, actually, you can keep the entire data. So you can see, guys, I will do that 10-10 split operation. After doing the 10-10 split operation, what will happen? It will give me my training set as well as the testing set. So this particular training set and testing set I will keep inside a folder called ingested folder. So one folder would be created called artifact. Inside that, my feature store would be there. Inside my root US visa file would be saved. And after doing the 10-10 split, I will create another folder called ingested. Inside that, I will keep my train.csv and my train.csv. So this is the entire idea of this particular flowchart. Okay, so that's how my data ingestion will happen. Okay, so I think you got this particular understanding how things are working. And this is the entire flowchart, guys, I'm sharing with you. So you can open it up in your system and you can try to understand, okay, how things are working. Now we'll try to refer this particular flowchart and we'll do the coding with respect to that only. Okay, so now let's go to my code editor. So this is my code editor, guys. Let me close this particular tab. Now here, first of all, what I have to write, guys. First of all, I have to write the workflow. Okay, like how we are going to update this particular file, because here you can see there are so many files. There are so many files and folder. Now one question would be in your mind, like which file I need to change first and which file I need to change last. Okay, so that's why first of all, let's try to understand the workflow. See, workflow wise, what I have to do, guys. So inside US visa, you can see there are so many folder: constant, configuration, component, entity, exception. Okay, logger, everything. So exception logger we have already written. We don't need to write it. So first of all, let's try to write the workflow, like which file I need to change at the very first. Okay. So artifact means the generated output. Let's say after running the code, whatever output it is generating, I have to save somewhere. That is called artifact folder. Well go. Okay. Now here, let me just comment it out. So this is my project workflow. So work. workflow. So in that particular workflow, so first thing will be executing, sorry, the first thing will be updating called constant. Okay, constant. Okay, constants. This particular constant folder we have to update first of all. Okay, then the second thing we have to update called config, or here I can just write entities. Okay, entity. Okay, entity. Now first of all, let me update this particular constant. So let me open this particular constant folder, and inside that you are having one file called _init__.py, because this is your this is your constructor file. Inside that particular constructor file, I'm going to mention my constant. I just landed to this particular lecture. Are we also covering the data engineering here? No, big data we are not going to cover, Harshad. Okay, big data we are not going to cover here. Yeah, I already created the virtual environment for this particular project in my first video. You can check it out. See that. Okay. Now inside this particular constant, I have to mention these are the variable. That means my data ingestion directory, feature store file path, okay, training file path, testing file path, training split ratio, collection name, everything I have to mention. So I already created all the variable. Let me show you guys how this particular variable will look like. So this is going to be my constant. So these are the constant actually I need. So these are the common constant. So let me show you. So these are my common constant. Okay, these are my common constant. You can see. So here what I have written, guys, you can see here I have written my database name. So what is my database name? Okay, what is my database name? I think you know that this is my database name. If I go to my MongoDB, this is my database name called US Visa. So that's why I kept this particular database name as US Visa. You have to give the same name, the name actually you have created in your MongoDB. First of all, try to check the name you have created and give the name here, database name. Okay. Then you have to mention the collection name. So you can see this is the collection name. Inside US Visa, I'm having visa data. Okay, visa underscore data. So this is my collection name. Okay, this is my collection name. So here you can see inside actually collection name, I have mentioned this particular visa underscore data. So this is going to be my connection name. Okay. Now MongoDB URL key. That means the MongoDB URL, that means that collection string. Okay, the collection string I collected. Okay, the collection string I collected. Okay, from the MongoDB. Now what I will show you guys how to mention this particular MongoDB URL. So for this, what I can do, I can first of all take that particular connection string. So let me just copy. Just a minute, I kept somewhere. This is my connection string. Yeah. So you can see that, guys, I think I can open this particular file and at the last I can mention it. So this is my connection string, guys. You can see this is my entire connection string. Okay, with the help of that, we'll be making the connection with our MongoDB. Now I have to export this particular connection string as my environment variable. Okay, then this particular variable will able to load this particular connection string from my environment variable. I think you know that what is environment variable. So in Windows actually we'll get one option called environment variable. So if you search here environment variable, so you'll see this particular option, environment variable. Okay, so here what you can do, you can click on this particular environment variable, and here you can create a system variable. To create the system variable, what you can do, guys, you can create a new. If you just click on new, then after that you just need to give the variable name. So the variable name should be MongoDB URL. So I'll copy this particular name, and here I'll just try to mention it. So this is the MongoDB URL. Okay, now you have to define the variable value. So value is nothing but this is the value, the entire connection string. So I'll copy. Okay, and here I'm just trying to mention this particular connection string. Okay, now once it is done, just click on OK, and see it has saved inside my environment variable. Okay, now with the help of operating system package, I can load this particular environment variable. Why I kept this particular credential inside my environment variable? Because I don't want to share with my public. I don't want to share with my audience. Okay, so that, see, if you are creating any kind of secret file, if we are using any kind of secret credential in your project, instead of keeping hard code, what you can do, you can keep inside environment variable, and when you require it, at that time you can read from the environment variable. That should be the most secured way, okay, to create a project. That's why I'm showing this particular way, like how we can keep our credential inside environment variable and how we can read it later on. Okay, that is what actually I'm showing. Now if I just click on OK, see it has been saved here. Okay, it has been saved. Now I can easily load this particular environment variable with the help of my operating system package. Okay, I'll tell you how to load it later on. I'll tell you how to load this particular environment variable with the help of operating system package. Okay, this is the first approach. Okay, you can follow those who are using actually command prompt. If you're using Anaconda prompt, guys, if you're using Anaconda prompt or command prompt to execute this particular project, you can use this particular method. And if you're using git bash, guys, so those who are using git bash, you can also create inside .env file. It is also fine. Well, go. You can create a .env file. Inside that also you can mention. Okay, there are so many ways you can manage your like secret variable. Okay, but I'm showing you this particular option because this is like most easiest one. You don't need to install any kinds of like package. You can directly use your environment variable option inside Windows and you can load it. And those who are using git bash, guys, for you there is another way you can follow. So let me first of all clear my terminal. See here I'm using my git bash. So let me make a bigger screen. So this is my git bash, guys. Okay, so those who are using git bash, so what you can do, you can execute one command. So the command I already shared inside the readme file. So let me show you. I think it's not there. So let me just copy the command. Somewhere I kept this particular command. So this is the command, guys. As of now, I don't need my AWS credential. I'll just try to remove. So see, guys, this is the command you have to execute. So export MongoDB. I'll copy this particular command. I will go back here and I'll take a new cell. I'll try to mention. Now I'll copy the entire connection string and here I'm going to mention it. Okay, here I'm going to mention it. So this is going to be your command, guys. Export MongoDB URL equal to, you have to give the entire connection string. Now I'll try to copy the entire command and here I'm going to execute inside my inside my git bash. Now if I execute, see, this particular credential would be set as my environment variable. Okay, this particular credential would be set as my environment variable. So there is a two approach you can follow. If you're using command prompt, you can directly set inside your environment variable inside your Windows machine. And if you're using any other operating system like Linux or Mac, you can use this particular command, export command. And if you're also using git bash to execute your project, you can also use this particular method, okay, to set your connection string. I hope, guys, this part is clear, all of you. Right? Now, what I can do, guys, I can remove this particular connection string from here as of now because I'm not going to share with you. So let me delete. And I'm going to also delete this particular connection string. So the command wise I have shared here, guys. So you can refer this particular command. Only you just need to replace your connection string here. Okay, that is the idea. Now I'll save it. Now this particular file also I need to save. So here I can save it. I just need to press Ctrl S. And this particular file also I need to save. Yeah. So now see, this particular three variable, I think you understand. These are my constants. See, what is constant? Constant is the variable actually. We don't see. Constant is a variable actually will be changing frequently. Let's say the database name. Okay, see here we are not going to use the same database name like all the time. So we may change the database name. But if I'm hard coding this particular value inside my code, so what I have to do, whenever I need to change that particular database name, I have to open up my code. I have to open up my code inside my component, inside my data ingestion. There I need to change it manually. So it is like very hectic task because let's say there is like so many file and folder. There is a very big code base you are having. Now finding that particular variable would be very much difficult for you. So that's why instead of keeping that particular variable as hard coded, what I have to do, I have to create a constant file. Inside that I can mention this particular variable, and whenever I need it, whenever I need to change it, I can open this particular constant file and here I can change it, and everything will reflect inside my code. So that's how I don't need to open up my code, and there I don't need to change it manually. So that is the automated way actually I'm following. That's why we call it as a constant. So whatever constant variable you need for your project, and it should be changeable later on, you can mention inside this particular constant, and you can change anytime, okay, by opening this particular file. I hope this part is clear, guys. What is constant? Let me know. So that's why you can see here, I'm keeping this particular constant. These are the constant variable I need to run my data ingestion pipeline. Okay, great. And now you can see here, I have updated my constant. Okay, constant is updated. Now I also need to update my data ingestion related constant, because as of now I have updated some of the common constant. You can see my MongoDB URL, my pipeline name, US visa, artifact directory. That means it will create artifact directory. Okay, inside that it will save everything, and whatever model actually you want to save after training, it would be the model.pickle. That means we are going to save our model as a pickle format. Okay, that's why we kept this particular variable. Now I have to set some of the constant for the data ingestion, like data ingestion directory, feature store, file path. Okay, these are the thing I have to like mentions. For this I already prepared for my data ingestion related constant. So these are my data ingestion related constant, guys. You can see. So these are my data ingestion related constant. So here what I have mentioned, guys, constant mean fixed. Yeah, you can consider as a fixed, but later on if you want to change it, okay, you can do it. Very good. Okay. Now see guys, data ingestion collection name, it's a visa data. Okay, it's a visa data. You can see collection name is a visa data. Then my data ingestion directory name, it's a data ingestion directory. That means inside a artifact folder, it will create a folder called data ingestion. Inside that, it will store my data. That means that's how it will create the folder. First of all, one folder would be created called artifact. Okay, artifact. Inside that, it will create a data ingestion folder. Inside that, it will create a feature store and ingested. It will be more clear whenever I'll execute this particular program, and whenever I'll show you the output, it would be more clear. Okay, as of now, just try to consider these are some variable I have taken, and these are some folder actually I have to create. Okay, during my data ingestion, and this is my train to split ratio. That means 80% data I want to keep for my training purpose, and 20% data I want to keep for my testing purpose. Okay, so these are my data ingestion related constant I kept as of now. Okay, great. Now the next thing I have to update called entity. Okay, I have to update my entity. You can see in the readme file I have mentioned I have to update my entity. Now let's open up my entity. So here you can see this is my entity. Inside entity you are having two kinds of entity called artifact entity and config entity. Okay, now let's try to understand what is config entity and what is artifact entity. See what will happen. So let's say this is my data ingestion. This is my data ingestion. Data ingestion. Okay, so to run the data ingestion, what I need some constant. Definitely I need some constant. I think I show you I need some constant, so I can just, yeah, so I need constant. Okay, see this constant is nothing but it's just a path. Actually you can see at the end it's just a folder. That means it's a path, because if I want to create something inside data ingestion folder, I have to store inside feature store. That means it's a path. Actually at the end it's a path I have to return as a path. Okay, so to manipulate this particular constant, I need something called config entity. So there is another things actually called config entity. Config entity. So what config entity will do, it will take the constant and it will make the path. It will make the popper path. Okay, this particular path will be provided in my data ingestion component. Okay, and data ingestion would be executed, and it will give you two things. It will give you two things. One is my train.csv, and this is like my test.csv. You can see here after running my data ingestion, what I am getting, train.csv and test.csv. This is my output. That means this is my artifact. Yes or no, guys? This is my artifact, right? After like executing the data ingestion, I'm getting train.csv and test.csv. So this is my output. Okay, now if I want to execute the next component, what is the next component, guys, after data ingestion? I think you know, which is nothing but my data validation. Okay, data validation. Now if I want to validate the data, so what I have to do, first of all I have to load my train.csv and test.csv. Then I have to check this particular data, whether this particular data is in a correct format or not, if there is any data diff problem or not. Okay, so that means what I am doing, I'm taking this particular train.csv as well as that test.csv inside my next component, which is coming after data ingestion, which is nothing but my data validation. That means you can see the output I'm getting from my first component. This is my first component. This is my second component. That means the output I'm getting from my first component, that is the input from the next component. That is the input for the next component, which is nothing but my data validation. That means this is my artifact. This is my artifact. This is my artifact. Okay, these are my artifact. Okay, so this is called actually artifact entity. That means we are getting some entity. Okay, artifact entity. That means we are getting some output, and this particular output we are sending for the next component, which is nothing but my data validation. Again, data validation will execute. It will give some output. And this particular output I have to send to my next component, which is nothing but my data transformation. Okay, data transformation. Okay, data transformation. Again, data transformation will give you some output. Okay, I'll need to send this particular output to my next component, which is nothing but my model trainer. Okay, model trainer. Again, model trainer will give some output. I'll send this particular output to the next component, which is nothing but my model evaluation. Okay, model evaluation. Okay, after model evaluation, again it will generate some output. I will send this particular output to my next component, which is nothing but my model pusher. That means whenever I'm executing the pipeline, it is taking some input, it is generating some output. This particular output is getting to the next component, again it is giving some output, again it is going as an input for the next component. Okay, so this is the entire pipeline, and the output actually we are getting, this is nothing but my artifact entity. This is nothing but my artifact entity. That means the output I'm getting, that is called artifact. Okay, this is called artifact. Okay, I hope this part is clear right now. Okay, now config entity is nothing but the constant we are manipulating with the help of config entity, and artifact entity is nothing but the output we are getting from the component, which is the input for the next component. This is called artifact entity. Okay, now let's try to write as a code. Okay, how to write as a code? So I will open up my code editor. So I will first of all define the config entity. So inside config entity, what I can do, I can define the entire config entity. Just a minute. Config entity. So first of all, I'm going to import some of the library here. So first of all, let's import operating system, because with the help of operating system, we will be manipulating the path. Then I also need to import all of the constant here. See, all of the constant I'm having here. Okay, so I have to import. So how to import? So here I can just do from US visa. So it is available inside my US visa, US_visa. Inside that, I'm having a folder called constant. Okay, constant. So here I can call this particular constant, and I need to import. Okay, I need to import everything from this particular constant. For this, I'm going to give this particular star icon. Okay, I'm going to give this particular star icon. Okay, that means I'm importing everything. Okay, I'm importing everything from this particular constant. Star means I want to import everything. Okay, star means I want to import everything. Okay, then what I have to do, guys, I have to again import another library called data class. I'll tell you what is this data class. As of now, let's import data class, and there is a method called data class. Okay, then I also need datetime library, so I can just write date time. Okay, import datetime. Okay, datetime. So these are the packages I need as of now. So first of all, I have to create a datetime. That means datetime timestamp. So it will create the, it will take that current timestamp. Okay, and it will save inside this particular variable called timestamp. Okay, so here I'm going to create a class, and this is not actually Python class. This is the data class. You can see there is a decorator I have assigned called data class. So data class means it's a class only. Inside class, actually without self, actually I'm writing the variable. See, whenever we define the class, how we define the class, I think you remember. If I am defining any class, let's say class name is ABC. Okay, ABC. This is my class. Inside that, I just define a constructor. Okay, I just define a constructor called def __. Okay, __ init __. Okay, inside that, I just mention the self. Okay, then after that, if I want to like define a like class variable, what I have to do, guys, I have to first of all take the self. Okay, then I have to mention the variable name. Let's say variable name is test. Inside that, I need to store some of the value. Let's say value is none. Okay, as of now, none. So that's how actually we usually define class variable. But here you can see, instead of using self, I can directly define this particular class variable, because this is a data class right now. This is not a Python class, it's a data class. Okay, with the help of this particular data class decorator, you can define the class variable without using any kinds of self method. Now let me delete this particular line. Now you can see what I'm doing. The class name is training pipeline. Inside that, this is the pipeline name. So the pipeline name, you can see the pipeline name I'm getting from the constant. If you just press Ctrl and right click on top of it, it is coming from the constant itself. Okay, now artifact directory. So what is my artifact directory, guys? Artifact directory, you can see it is also coming from my constant. So artifact, and I'm just attaching with my timestamp. That means it will create a timestamp folder. Inside that, it will ingest my data. That means every time it will create a different timestamp, and that particular timestamp, it will store my data. This part would be more clear whenever I'll execute the code, guys. As of now, just try to consider it will create a timestamp folder. Inside that, it will ingest the data. Okay, so that I don't need to replace the data again and again. Okay, because I need all of the experiment, all of the artifact, okay, generated from my model. Now again, this is the timestamp I'm returning here. So this is a simple data class I've written. Now I need to write the data class for the data ingestion, but before that, I need to first of all call this particular I just need to call this particular class. So here I'm calling this particular class, guys. You can see, so this is my training pipeline class I'm calling. So this is the object, and this is the variable, and this is my this is the actually type. This is a class type, this is my variable, and this is my class name. Okay, so here I'm calling it. Now inside that, I need to define my data ingestion related constant. You can see these are my data ingestion related configuration. So the class name is data ingestion, and inside that, I'm just creating a different variable. The variable you saw here, my data ingestion directory, feature store file path, training file path, testing file path, everything I have mentioned here. Okay, one by one. And this is the type of this particular variable. This is string type, this is string type, this is string type, this is the floating type, this is the string type. Okay, now inside that, you can see with the help of os.path.join, I'm defining all the path. That means my training pipeline path, first of all, artifact directory and data ingestion directory name. Okay, then my data ingestion directory, data ingestion feature store directory name. Okay, that's how I'm preparing all the path. Now file name is missing, I think, here. So let me see, guys, what is file name here. So this is the file name. That means my data name. Okay, my data name. So this is the data name, guys. The data name is usvisa.csv. I think you saw that. This is the data name. Okay, this is the file name. So this particular file name I need to save inside my artifact after downloading the data from my MongoDB, right? So now I think everything is fine. Now there is two more variable is missing, train file name and test file name. So let's mention it here as well. So train file name inside my constant. So here is my train file name. Okay, so train.csv and test.csv test file name. Okay, now let me save. And if I come here, now see all the variable I have defined. Okay, and this is simple Python code, guys. With the help of os.path.join, I'm just joining the path. I'm not joining the path. I'm just joining the path. That's it. Okay, that's it. Now you can simply understand. You can print this particular things. Okay, in a Python interpreter, you can open it up and you can execute. You can print it up. That's how you can understand. Okay, but I'm expecting, guys, you have this much of code level understanding. Okay, here I'm not writing very fancy code. I'm just only using was.path.join. I'm just joining the path. That's it. And from where this particular variable is coming, you can see here. You just press Ctrl and right click. Sorry, left click. You just press Ctrl and left click. If you left click, you will automatically redirect to you in that particular like variable. Okay, that's how you can understand. Okay, from where this particular variable is coming. Okay, so this is nothing but my config entity. Okay, this is nothing but my config entity. Okay, now see, config entity is covered. Now I need to assign the artifact entity. Now I have to assign my artifact entity. Now what is artifact entity? You can see here. So after doing the data ingestion, artifact will generate train.csv and test.csv and train.csv. So these two files actually it will give me. So let's define this particular entity as well. So I'll open up this particular artifact entity. So this is going to be my artifact entity. Again, it's a data class. The name of the data class is data ingestion artifact. And this is my train file path and test file path. And this is going to be a string type path. Okay, the string type variable. That means it will return this particular two file. And this particular two file I need to receive in my next component, which is nothing but my data validation. Okay, I hope this part is clear right now. Okay, so now you can see my config entities part is also clear. That means we have updated my constant as well as the entity. Now the next thing what I have to do, I have to make the connection. I have to make the connection with my MongoDB. So to make the connection, guys, what I can do, there is a connection folder I'm having. Sorry, there is a configuration folder I'm having. Inside that, I'm going to create a folder. Inside that, I'm going to create a file called MongoDB connection. So let's create a file here. So inside connection configuration, I'll create a file. I'll just name it as MongoDB. So MongoDB, Mongo_DB _ connection. Okay, connection. So why I'm creating this particular file separately, I'll tell you. First of all, let me create connection. Now inside that, see, the same code we have written, in our Jupyter notebook, I've written in a modular way. That's it. You can see here. There is nothing new. See, I have created let me select my environment visa. Now see, PyMongoDB disappeared. See, so I'm importing first of all my exception login. I think you know what is exception login, because every time I'm handling the exception as well as the logging also. Here I'm just doing the logging, I think somewhere. So logging, I think I was doing somewhere here. See, logging. I'm also doing the logging operation. So you can see here, first of all, I imported database name and MongoDB URL from my constant. You can see database name, and this is my MongoDB URL. Okay, and from where MongoDB URL would be getting, it will get from the environment variable itself. Okay, so you can see here I'm loading. Now why I'm using certify, because you remember I was getting the connection issue, timeout issue. Somewhere I think you were getting that connection timeout issue. So to prevent this particular connection timeout issue, what you can do, you can use this certify package. Okay, certify package. Okay, now I've created a class called MongoDB client. Inside that, first of all, this particular client would be none. First of all, I have to make the connection with my client. See, the same thing we have written inside this particular notebook for the connection. See, first of all, I was connecting with my MongoDB URL, creating the database. then collection name. The same thing I'm doing here. First of all, I'm making the connection. But to make the connection, first of all, I need to load the MongoDB URL. And here you can see voice.getEnv, voice.getEnv. Okay, with the help of voice.getEnv, I'm loading this particular MongoDB key. Okay, let me show you. So I will open up my demo. I can copy this particular code. And here I can open up my demo.py. Let me delete this particular code and let me paste it here. Now here I need to import my operating system. So import OS. Okay. Now wait.getEnv, and what is my environment name in the constant? It was MongoDB URL. I'll copy, and inside that I need to mention it. Okay, in a string I need to mention it. Okay. Now it will automatically load this particular MongoDB URL from where? From my environment variable. Okay, I think you saw that inside environment variable, I already set it up. Here it is already there. MongoDB URL. It is already there. Okay. Now let me show you. So if I open up my terminal and if I execute this particular demo.py, so Python demo.py, so there is nothing because I need to print it. So print this particular MongoDB URL. Let me save, and again if I execute, see this particular connection URL I'm getting. This particular connection URL I'm getting automatically from my environment variable. That's why we have kept my credential inside my environment variable, and that's how we are reading this particular thing. So with the help of getEnv, and first of all I'm checking MongoDB URL is none or not. If none, I'll raise the exception environment key is not set. Otherwise I'll make the connection. You can see I'm making the connection the same way MongoDB client, the same connection I did inside my notebook as well. Okay, you can see the same connection I'm doing. That means the same code, guys, I've written inside my Jupyter notebook, only I'm writing here as a functional way. I'm in a modular way. Okay, you can see after creating, I'm just creating the database and I'm just returning this particular database name. Okay, that's it. And if some exception occurs, okay, what I'm doing, I'm just raising the exception. Okay, my US visa exception. That is the things actually I'm doing. Now see why I've kept this particular connection in a separate file, in a configuration. Because let's say whenever I want to do the data ingestion, so whenever I have to make the connection with my MongoDB, what I have to do? I have to write this much of code, yes or no? I have to write this much of code. So if I'm writing this much of code here, so it would be like, I mean, more messy. Okay, so there would be lots of line, and to manage this particular code, it would be very difficult for me. It will look like more messy, right? So that's why what we created a different file, and inside that I kept my connection string. So whenever I need to make the connection with my MongoDB, I'll call this particular class only, and it will automatically make the connection and create the database for me. That is called actually modular coding. Instead of creating all the code inside of one file, you are creating a different file, different folder, and there you are keeping your code, and whenever you require it, you are calling that particular code from there only. This is called modular coding, and this is called object-oriented programming. Okay, that's why I told you OOPS concept was required, and if you want to understand the modular coding, you need the OOPS concept understanding. Okay, that's how actually we write the production grade code in the company as well. Okay, so this particular code would be very clean code, and you can manage this particular code in the easiest way. Okay, going forward. Okay, I hope this part is clear. Now let me save it, and now I can close this particular file. Okay, now the next thing, guys, what I have to do, if I cancel this one, now if I open up this particular I'll close this one, this particular notebook. See, the next thing, I was converting my data to a data frame. That means whatever data actually I was getting from my DB, I was converting as a data frame. So how to convert as a data frame? So for this, I'm going to create another class in a different folder. So here, what I can do, guys, I can create a, just a minute. So inside US visa, I can create a folder called data access. Okay, data underscore access. Data underscore access. Inside that, I'm going to create a constructor file because again it's a folder. So I'll just write underscore init underscore dot py. Okay, this is going to be my constructor folder. Now inside that, I'm going to create a file called visa data, or I can just keep it as US visa underscore data. Okay, US visa underscore data dot py. Okay, inside that, I'm going to write the logic to convert my data from dictionary to data frame. So again, I prepared this particular code for you. So let me show you. Again, I'm sharing this particular code as a template, guys. You don't need to write from scratch. So if you're creating any kinds of project, you can use this particular code as it is. Okay, no need to change anything. Okay, it's automated code. Now you can see here, guys, I'm importing my Mongo client from the configuration I created. So inside configuration, MongoDB connection, you can see US Visa configuration, MongoDB connection, and I was importing this particular class. And with the help of this particular class, I was making the connection inside my data, inside my, here, you can see here, this is the connection I was doing. That's why I kept this particular class separately. If I want to make the connection, I can easily import it and I can use it. Okay. Now exception, pandas, and some of the optional library have imported. So here I've created one class. So inside that I've created a constructor. So here I'm making the connection with my MongoDB. And if some exception occurs, it will raise the exception. And here the final method I have written, export collection as data frame. That means you need to give the collection name, database name. Okay. It will return your data as a data frame object. You can see, first of all, it will check the database, whether database is none or not. If it is none, first of all, it will create the connection name. Otherwise, it will make the connection and it will get the data as a data frame. Okay. It will remove the ID column and it will replace the none value. If some none is there, it will replace the none value and it will return the data. It will return the data frame for you. So whatever things I was doing manually here, everything I've kept in a, here, I think it is available inside US Visa. Okay. Everything I've kept in a function, in a class, okay, in a modular way. Okay, so whenever I need it, I will call this particular method and it will do my job automatically for me. Okay, this is called modular coding. Instead of writing everything in a one place, I can separate out. Okay, and whenever I require it, I can use it from there only. I hope this part is clear, all of you. Let me know. I'll share this particular code, guys, with all of you. No need to worry. So after that, you can like get that particular code in your system and you can execute from your end. Okay, that would be more clear. And guys, please try to export this particular code. It's not like that you are only watching this particular lecture. It will help you a lot. If you want to understand the code, definitely you have to execute. You have to execute in your system. Then you will be able to understand what is happening here. Okay. Yeah. So if you have any query, guys, you can ask me in between. So it is ready. Data access, I can close it. As of now, config entity, I can also close. Demo, I can also close. MongoDB connection also I can close. Okay, that means I have created my data connection, data access. That means export my data as a data frame. Now finally I can work with my components. Okay, now here I can mention after entity, I can work with my components. So components. Okay, components. So let me open up my components, data ingestion. Inside components, I'm having the data ingestion. And here is the data ingestion code. So it's like very simple code, guys. First of all, let's import some library. So I'm importing pandas data frame 10 test speed because I told you I have to do the 10 test speed during data ingestion. Okay, that's why I need this. And data ingestion config. So definitely I need to import my configuration, the configuration you have prepared, because it is going to return all the path. And I need to also import my data ingestion artifact because it is going to be my return type. That means for the next component, what will be the return type? So that's why I have imported this particular artifact entity as well. Okay. Then exception, login, and US Visa. That means my export date collection as a data frame. Okay. This particular class I'm importing. Okay. So these are the thing I need for the data ingestion. Now here I'm going to create a class called data ingestion. So this is the class, guys, I've created called data ingestion. Inside that, it is taking data ingestion configuration. The configuration I'm getting it from here, and it is making the configuration object. And if some exception occurs, it will give the exception, okay, to all of you. Now inside that, I'm going to create a method called export the data into feature store. So this is the method, guys, I've created called export the data into feature store. So this is the doc string I have written. And from here, your code is starting inside try block. First of all, I'm logging the information, getting the US Visa data. Okay, you can see this is the US Visa data. So this will give you the US Visa data. Okay, you can see export data as a collection. I'm getting the data frame. I'm checking the shape of it. After that, what I'm doing, creating a directory. Inside that particular directory, I'm saving my data as a CSV format. Okay, and this is the feature store file path I'm getting from my data ingestion configuration, and it is coming from here only, inside from your configuration itself. Okay. So that's how actually each and everything is connected with each other. If you want to understand, first of all, try to open this particular code with your code editor, press the control and do the left click. Okay, for like that you can understand from where this particular variable is coming. Okay, Now, once my data has been exported inside my feature store, I have to do the tent split operation. So this is what I have to do. So again, I have written another function here. So this is the function, guys, called split the data as a train and test. Okay. So you can see I'm logging the information and I'm doing the tent split operation. After that, I'm saving my training set and as well as the testing set inside my training file path and testing file path. Okay. The path actually I prepared here. The path actually I have prepared here inside my constant as well. So this is my constant. So here the path actually I have prepared. Okay. I hope this part is clear. Now to execute this particular two function, that means my export data, that means my export data into feature store and speed data as a train and test speed. Okay. I have to write one final method. So this is called initiate data ingestion. Initiate data ingestion. You can see. So here, this is the return type data ingestion artifact because I told you it will return 10 file path and test file path. That's why this is the return type of a function. In Python, you can also mention the return type of a function. Okay. Now inside that, you can see, first of all, I'm exporting the data. That means I'm calling this particular method, exporting the data in a feature store. And once it is done, I'm logging the information. Then I'm doing the tent split operation. You can see I'm calling this particular method. Okay. Inside this particular method. That means if you execute this particular method, this particular two method would be automatically executed. That means one method is connected with each other. Okay, one method is connected with each other. Okay, this is called modular coding. Now, once it is done, I'm just defining my output. That means my artifact. That means as an artifact, I will get my training directory as well as the testing directory. Okay, as an artifact, you can see as an artifact, my testing directory as well as my training directory for my next component. And once it is done, I'm returning my data ingestion artifact and my exception is handling here. Now, if you want to test this particular data ingestion, whether it's working fine or not, what I can do, I can open up my pipeline. So inside US Visa, I created one folder called pipeline. Now I need to update my pipeline. After components, fourth file I need to update, which is nothing but my pipeline. So pipelines. Okay, pipeline I have to update. I think it's a pipeline, not pipelines. Let me save. So now I'll open up this particular pipeline. And inside that, I'm having two pipeline, prediction pipeline and training pipeline. As of now, prediction pipeline is not required. I'll only update my training pipeline. I'll open this particular training pipeline. And inside that, first of all, I need to import some of the libraries. So let me import one by one. So first of all, I need to import my login exception and system package because I was handling that exception. For this, I need the system package. Then I also need my data ingestion. The data ingestion component I created here. So this is the class data ingestion. So if I want to import it, so what I can do from US Visa, okay, US Visa dot component, it is available inside component folder, and there is a file called data ingestion, and here I need to import, okay, I need to import data ingestion class, the class actually I have created here. Okay, then with that I also need to import, guys, my config entity as well as my artifact entity. So let's import as well. So from US Visa, so entity is available inside the entity folder. You can see inside entity folder my entity available, so I can import. So from US Visa dot entity dot config entity. Okay, so the first config entity I need to import, which is nothing but my data ingestion config. Okay, then similar wise I also need to import from my artifact entity. So US Visa dot entity, and here I now need to import the artifact entity, and inside that I have my data ingestion artifact. Okay, so these are the thing I need to import. Then once it is done, I need to create a class, and inside that particular class I need to initialize my data ingestion. So this is the class, guys, called training pipeline. Inside that I've created a constructor, and this is going to be my data ingestion configuration. Okay, this particular object I have initialized. Fine. So now here I'll create a method called start data ingestion. So inside that I'm going to create a method called start data ingestion. Okay, you can see. So here what I'm doing, guys, I'm just calling this particular data ingestion. I'm just calling this particular data ingestion object because this is going to be my final class, and inside that I'm having this particular method called initiate data ingestion. So this particular initiate data ingestion, if I execute, that means it will execute your export data as a feature store as well as the tent speed. That means I only need to call this particular method and everything would be executed. Okay, so here what I am doing, I'm just logging the information, initializing my data ingestion, and it will take the configuration. That configuration I'm passing, and from the object itself I'm calling the initiate data ingestion. That means this particular function I'm calling. Okay, sorry, this particular function I'm calling. And once this particular function is called, that means your data ingestion will start and it will ingest the data inside the artifact folder. And this would be clear, guys. Let me first of all execute. Everything would be clear in your mind. Okay, like what is happening here. Now, once it is done, I also need to create a final method called run pipeline. Okay, because I need to run the pipeline. So here, this is going to be my method. So these are my common function. Going forward, we'll be writing everything inside this particular function only. That's why I told you, if you understand the data ingestion going forward, all the component will be writing, you can understand easily. Now see, run pipeline one method I've created. This is a doc string, and inside that I'm initializing this particular start data ingestion. So this data ingestion is calling here. Now once it is done, I also need to fill out my exception block. Okay, exception block I also need to fill out. That means if I call this particular run pipeline, my data ingestion will start. Now how to call the run pipeline? I'll open up my demo. So demo.py, let me open it up. Demo.py. So let me close everything. Now first of all, I need to import. So from usvisa.pipeline. Okay, so here I'm having something called training pipeline import. So this is the class name I created called train pipeline. Okay, now let me initialize the train pipeline in object. So obj is equal to train pipeline, and from the train pipeline is itself obj dot, I'm going to run this particular run pipeline method. Okay, so this is my run pipeline. You can see if I execute the run pipeline, my entire pipeline will start. Now let me save, and if I open up my terminal, if I clear it, see, as of now there is nothing, there is no artifact folder. But if I execute this particular demo.py right now, see, my data would be ingested from my database. It will take some time. Make sure you set that particular environment key. Okay, otherwise it won't be working. I already said, that's why I'm executing. So it's like very easy code, guys. Only I've written in a modular way. So sometimes you feel like, okay, it's like a little bit complex, but if you go through this particular code, if you execute from your end, definitely each and everything would be clear. So make sure, guys, you execute this particular code from your end. Okay. See, currently my data will be ingested here. So let's wait. See, my data ingestion is done. See, my execution is successful. There is no error. There is no error. That means it executed successfully. Now see, artifact folder has created. One artifact folder has created, guys. I think you can see artifact folder has created. And inside artifact, one timestamp folder has created. You can see this is the current timestamp. The timestamp I have executed my program. So you can see the current timestamp and date. This is the execution of my program. Inside that, it has created a folder called data ingestion. Inside that, feature is stored and ingested. That means the same thing we have written here. Artifact, timestamp. Timestamp I haven't mentioned in this particular flowchart. But you can see feature store and ingested. Feature store and ingested. Inside feature store, it has saved my usvisa.csv, usvisa.csv. Inside ingested, it has saved my train.csv and test.csv. And this is my data, guys. Okay, you can see this is my data. That means my data ingestion is successful. My data ingestion is successful from my database itself. Okay, with the help of modular coding. That means the code I have written as of now, everything is running fine. Okay, without any error. Okay. So this is called artifact, and every time it will create a different timestamp. Let's say if I execute this particular code for the second time, let's say second time I'm executing. So what will happen? Let's see. So instead of replacing the previous file, it will create a different timestamp. Inside that, it will ingest the data. That means I'm not losing my previous information. This is called data version controlling. Okay, or your artifact version controlling. I think people are asking, sir, how to do the data version controlling, how to do the model version controlling. That's how you can do the controlling. Okay, with a different timestamp. See, execution is done. Now if I open up my artifact, see, this is my first execution, this is my second execution. Okay, and again I got the same output. I hope, guys, this part is clear, and let me know, guys, the technique actually I'm following, whether it's I mean unique technique or not, or you are enjoying this particular technique or not, because this is the unique things, okay, I'm showing you. If you have any better idea, you can follow, because again end-to-end implementation is completely your design pipeline. This is the pipeline I usually follow. Okay, and I saw lots of industry are following this particular pipeline. Okay, this particular technique to write the code. So how is this particular project, guys? Let me know. How is this particular code? How is this particular project? So let me commit the changes as well. So we can see lots of commit I have to do, but again, I don't want to commit. These are the artifact. The artifact it has generated, you can see, because artifact I don't want to push in my GitHub. So what I can do, if I want to ignore it, so I can open up this particular file called .gitignore. Inside that, you have to mention the artifact. So here I will mention the artifact folder. So artifact, I don't want to push. It was artifacts, artifact, okay, artifact only. Inside that, I want to ignore everything start. Now, if I save it, now see guys, all the artifact has been removed. Now I can commit the changes. So here I can write data ingestion, added, commit and see the changes. Okay, so now if I go to my GitHub, refresh the page, so all the changes I think I have made here. So data ingestion added. Now let me give you this particular repo so that you can get that code. So this is all about our data ingestion part, guys. That's how we can ingest that data, and this is the entire explanation I have given on the notebook side as well as the modular coding, how to write the modular coding, and that's how we need to write the modular coding, and this is what end-to-end implementation happens. Okay, so please try to see this particular code, try to practice, try to see like from where I'm calling the variable and all. It's like very simple Python code I'm writing, guys, only in just a class and method. Okay, I'm just writing the code. A little bit hard for you, Veligu, so that's why I'm telling you, first of all, try to clone this particular repo, open it up and try to understand. This is the best way to debug the code. Okay, otherwise by seeing the lecture, I know like still you will have some of the confusion. Okay, unless and until you are not executing from your end. So please try to execute. Definitely you can understand. Okay, and you can write your own code that time. Okay, yes. Now you can, if I follow any kinds of, let's say like real world implementation, let's say if I follow Kera's GitHub, let me show you the Kera's actually implementation. So inside Kera's, they're having different APIs. Let's say if I want to see the activation function, so see guys, so these are the constant activation application. So DenseNet implementation, only these are the things they have kept, but what is the yeah, so it is available inside layer. Okay, so what is the code implementation? Optimizer, scheduler. Okay, I think it is available inside src. Yeah, src activation.py. Now you can see guys, they are also using function. Okay, functional code. They're also using class code. Okay, classical code, functional code. They're also implementing in the same modular way. They're also using decorator and all. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we'll see that, Lakshman. Okay, maybe I can do the same thing. Okay, yeah. So I hope guys you got it, like how we have written this particular data ingestion and how this data ingestion is working. So tomorrow I'll just try to discuss this particular part called data drift with evidently. We'll see that in the model, in the data validation part, how to detect the data drift, if there is any data drift, and what is data drift exactly. If you don't know about data drift, I will tell you tomorrow the entire like detail and discussion and all. I'll try to see like how to detect the data drift with the help of one amazing MLOPs tool called Evidently. Okay, so I hope guys you enjoyed this particular session, and this is all from today. Let me know guys if you have enjoyed the session, so give me a like and please like the session guys. I can see very less like is there. Why guys? Because many people are watching but there is no like. Okay, there is no like, and please try to subscribe to the channel guys. Please try to support the channel. Just give me some motivation so that I can keep different unique content for you, right? So please try to support the channel, try to subscribe, try to hit the like button, and let's try to hit 12,000 subscribers as soon as possible. Tomorrow Sunday, yeah, tomorrow would be also we'll be doing the live, so you can get the update from this live section. Try to do the project handling missing values and duplicates value and outliers. We have already done. Okay, in our notebook experiment, we have already done missing value, duplicates value, outliers. Okay, you can check it out that particular session, Lakshman. Even we'll be also doing in the modular coding whenever we'll do the transformation part, data transformation part, there we'll be doing. So in this particular lecture, I have already showed you how to handle it. We have created the sklearn pipeline for this. Okay, you can check it out. So, all right, guys, I think I'm done with the session. So let's connect tomorrow and try to see the evidently experiment. And if time allows, I'll try to discuss the data validation part as well tomorrow. Okay. So with that, guys, thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Take care. Bye, everyone. Thanks. Bye.